This video is for the new Superman, directed by James Gunn. The music composers were John Murphy and David Fleming. The cast included David Cornsweet, Isabel Merced, and Alan Tudyk. The film is about when Superman gets drawn into conflicts at home and abroad, his actions are questioned, giving tech billionaire Lex Luthor the opportunity to get the Man of Steel out of the way for good. So this is a pretty good movie, and it's a pretty good start to the new DCU. Although it isn't for Superman newcomers, they are setting up a new universe and are going all in with stuff from the comics, which I was okay with. I was pretty much just seeing it to see how Cornsweet did and then Cutie Crypto. There were a lot of characters, and I was a little worried the movie would go into everybody's backstory like Hawk Girl or Guy Gardner, but he didn't, which I'm okay with. They probably will later in the future. At first I was on the fence about Nicholas Hoult and Nathan Fillion, but I really like Nicholas Hoult as the role of Lex Luthor. Nathan Fillion is good too. This is the first Superman film since Superman Returns to utilize John Williams' main theme from Superman 78 as the character's main leitmotif in the film score. David Cornsweet took inspiration for his portrayal of Clark Kent from his brother-in-law, who is 6'8", and the quietest, most wonderful man, in spite of his towering stature. For his portrayal of Superman, Cornsweet took inspiration from Christopher Reeve. And the trailer showed way too much of the movie. I didn't realize how much. For the most part, the CGI was pretty good, but in certain parts it wasn't too great. So here are some spoilers. I want to see more of Crypto, the Daily Planet, the kids, Clark's parents, Mally, and why did he have to die? And Will Reeve. I was kind of wanting his role to be expanded on. Clark Kent does not do the iconic shirt rip scene in this movie because he doesn't wear a Superman suit under his clothes. According to Gunn, he keeps an extra suit in his briefcase. That doesn't really make much sense. So, Angela has a jetpack. She barely uses it. She could have been trekking the Arctic with the jetpack, but instead chooses to walk. And how did Mr. Terrific get nanobots into Clark? And when did he do that? Since Jor-El's message is damaged, it would have been interesting if Luthor made up the rest of the message, since there's no actual way to prove it. And did Clark and Kara ever have a conversation about that? Luthor's Pocket Universe looks a lot like Minecraft, and I say that having never played or seen Minecraft. I love that Metamorpho is mostly makeup and not entirely CGI, and unlike that weird baby. I know that Anthony Carrigan had a hard time with the makeup, but it was refreshing to see makeup instead of all CGI. Something that has always bugged me in superhero movies is that everyday people just stand there and watch the chaos instead of running for their lives. Like, even one dude is eating yogurt. I mean, I get that in today's day and age, stopping the film because everybody does that. But when there is a rift coming, there's the slowest evacuation. And then across the river, there's some people, looks like they're having a barbecue or something, and they're wondering whether they should leave. They're like, you should have left yesterday. Something I wasn't wowed about is the Justice Gang trying to pull out the eye of the monster, which is really gross. And Angela's bots going to Clark's mouth, and then him spitting them out. I mean, that's just kind of gross. I don't want to go to any movie having to do this. That just might be me. And what happened to Angela? They say she's alive, but we never see her again. And to me, it felt like the fight between Clark, his clone, and Angela ended pretty quickly. James Gunn cited Godzilla -1 as a major influence on this film. He tried to fuse elements like giant monsters, robots, flying dogs, and other superheroes. His goal was to make the film like Godzilla -1, which depicted Godzilla, but also great human drama. Once the rift is closed and everything is literally somehow put back together, I'm very concerned about the foundation. And did we need the rift in the third act? I mean, it didn't really ruin the movie, but was it really needed? The scenes in the credits could have been different. I thought Kara's scene was in the credits, but it kind of just feels like it's thrown in. I thought like her scene and the scene of Crypto and Clark looking at Earth could have been in the credits in that order. Gunn has said that his DCU will consist of 100 universes. I mean, that means the multiverse, right? I have never liked the multiverse storyline in DC or Marvel. I mean, I know it's part of the comics, but to me, if there's multiple versions of the same character, only slightly different, and the one we've been watching and caring about dies, then what's the point of caring if there's hundreds of others just like them, only slightly different? I'm not entirely sure if I'll see all of the movies in this DCU, but I enjoyed this one. And I do like that the upcoming movies will all have different tones to them. It's not just going to be more of the same. Overall, I didn't think this movie was woke. Yeah, it's political, but so are many Marvel movies. And I didn't see any problem with them talking about immigration. They're talking about him being an alien, not an immigrant. I loved Clark's being human speech, which apparently went over Lex Luthor's head. So what are your thoughts on this film? Are you looking forward to the new DCU? Let me know in the comments, like this video, share, and subscribe.